really close to you, by the way.
Oh,
yeah.
scoot up.
Yeah, scoot up a little
Yeah,
bit.
or you can move the mic too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tall girls. Is that better?
Yeah, sorry. It's one of the things of the show. It just gets to be really busy.
See, you weren't late.
You weren't late at all.
I
No.
didn't know what
She's like, "What time should I be here?" And I was like, "Right now. You're
Well,
perfect."
as usual, Lewis doesn't remember when people are coming on the show.
It's all right.
I'm trying my hardest.
She's here now. She's
And-
been here listening. She probably learned some stuff today.
What did you learn today so
I
far?
did CPR. I was a lifeguard. 16 years old the last time I took a CPR class.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
We need a refresher
Yeah, I
course
was
to do
thinking
it.
I probably was in college because I remember taking it in high school, and then when I was in
I don't
college, I
think I've
worked
ever
in
taken it.
daycares,
Yeah.
and
You
so
don't
in
have a card?
daycares.
I think I still
Do you still have your card?
Yeah.
Bullet
The only I took like a lifeguarding course, when I was in.
But I didn't realize it changed every so often.
The lifeguard course, you had to take CPR too,
Yeah.
if you were certified.
Right. I don't
But it's
know.
changed.
It's changed all the time. That was probably many
Apparently.
years ago.
So I was like, "Oh, it changes."
It changes. Yes, it changes. All right. Anne's here. She's
Anne's
running
here.
for Precinct 1 Commissioner. You're the incumbent. Does that seem a little weird that you're the incumbent?
A little weird.
Little
Not
weird.
much really advantage to that. October to November, December, 3 months.
But yeah, 3 months. But
Actually, kind of not because busy.
yeah,
A little bit.
a little bit busy.
Late on the announcement of
Right.
it as well, so a little bit behind.
Even if you're not elected. Leaving, and you face a significant budget issue coming into the 2024-2025 budget season, which last year was your predecessor didn't bother to attend most of those meetings, and you're looking at another tight budget. How does that look for you?
For me, as a member of the court,
Yeah.
we're already starting to talk about that on the
Yeah.
court. We're not going to wait till the very last second and go, hey, let's
Hey.
make a budget.
Yeah.
We've started doing some preliminary meetings. I got put in charge of the 5-year plan for IT.
Mhm.
IT's in this tiny, have you ever been back in the IT department?
I've just seen Brenda Hughes' pictures of IT, and it's basically just a terrible closet.
It's a closet, and it's in the dark, and they've got desks made, so we need some work going on there, and the IT world has changed.
Mhm.
The size of the files that the employees are having to transfer back and forth, they're like in Tetris. I don't even know what a Tetra is.
Yeah.
So we've got some work there. We've got another group putting together a plan of what to do with the buildings
Right.
that the county owns.
Right.
And does somebody need to move around? And so we had all of those people into a workshop last week, trying to figure out who would fit best where, how much space do you need in the next 5 years. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going
Right.
to be fun. And like I said, we're already starting to work on that right now.
The space issue is a huge one
Yeah.
because the bond failed, and I took that bond failure. I wrote about this extensively. I think it was a repudiation of the Commissioners Court, because I think people were like looking at it and like, what are you guys doing? What is your plan?
Yeah.
Even though that plan was well researched, especially the big bond to pay for all the building improvements.
Right.
Because people I think realize they look at that courthouse and they're like, oh, it's so historic and it's really charming. Like, no, it's not. You go inside of it, it's all. It doesn't. There's maybe half of it has any kind of historic, character. It's just a facade basically. And it's no longer suitable for a county of our size in a lot of ways. But how do you convince the voters that's important if you put another bond back on there, or have to raise taxes to pay for some of those things?
That's going to be a tough sell. I think a lot of people have been inside the courthouse.
Yeah.
You go in to register your car and do different things. But I don't know if you've been upstairs, downstairs. Have you been downstairs lately?
Yeah. I don't even know. You lose track of space and time down there.
Yeah.
It's
that's
like,
true.
yeah, I mean, it's like Alaska at night, what
Yeah.
time is it here?
Yeah.
What time are we at? Cause you're in a dungeon basically.
Yeah. But the staff that are down there really like it.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, it's quiet. Not a whole lot of traffic coming in. Every once in a while people
It's
get
their own
lost
little
down there.
island down there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
reminds me of, it actually reminds me of the police station. Like the upper stairs of the, where all the offices are at, and you can look at the walls, and you're like, they're all bowed and stupid, and it's not really, it's all kind of, jerry rigged in there to make it work.
Kind of does.
Yeah.
Little ocean wave.
Yeah. So there's some issues down there.
Yeah.
Well, I think all counties are faced with growing out of their traditional courthouse that was built in whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know what year ours was
Yeah.
built, but a lot of the gorgeous ones were 18 whatever or early 1900s. And so they were built for a county of that size at that time. And they might have been really big then for that area.
Well,
But fast forward 100 years, a county has changed.
Yeah. Right.
and
Right.
people do a lot of stuff online too.
Yeah.
Not as many people come in.
Yeah.
And I think the county's, trying to make that available
Mm-hmm.
for those people who do want to do it online. And that's going to be some challenges for IT as well
Right.
because
Right.
those are your documents. So anyway, we'll see.
But the building issues aside, and economically, by the way, there's some bad news today where inflation ended up being higher than they thought. So that kind of sent the stock market into some issues, and that's been one of the reasons why the budget has been so challenging for the county. But the biggest expense is paying people. And do you feel like the county is improving, or are they still behind?
On pay,
Yeah.
I think they've made great strides in getting some of that caught up. And how I see that is the county employees are great employees.
Yeah.
And they all seem to be pretty happy with their jobs. They've been very welcoming to me coming in,
Right.
Getting started and helping me understand how county government works. We're getting there.
What's
I
been
think
the-
we're getting
what's-
there. We're
what's-
having a tough time. Road and Bridge.
Yeah.
They're down 7 people.
Right.
We're having a tough time getting people out there, but she's killing that department. Kelly is. So we are having some staffing issues.
When you Road and Bridge is interesting too, because they had to do like wage adjustments to be competitive, because it's a good commercial driver can probably make 6 figures in in certain areas, like especially like in the oil fields or
the high risk areas.
the high risk areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can make a good living.
Yeah.
If you want to make money, go be a truck driver, move and produce water. But they've had to really keep up with that, and that's been a challenge for them. And then the fact that vehicles need to be replaced too.
Right.
But what has been the biggest eye opener for you in your just short time on the court?
Well, there's a lot of eye openers. The state has very carefully developed what a county can and can't do.
Right.
And
Mostly can't, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Did you know that beforehand?
No.
Right.
No. I mean, I'm from the federal side.
Yeah.
Agencies kind of ran themselves. The head of the agency ran that department.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way in the county.
Right.
You see all this procedural stuff of people coming in. I want to move a chair out of my department into another department. I want to, retire this vehicle and and have to come in and ask, and we have to vote on that.
Right.
And so that's different. And I love Kelly, and I'm going to use her for another example.
Kelly Hoffer, the Road and Bridge.
Yes, I spent half a day out there between engineer and those guys over in her department. I think it was Christmas. Showed up for their Christmas breakfast.
You're right.
Food. I'm there. I asked Kelly, and I said, how is it being a department head and having to drive into the courthouse and report on all these different things? And to me, that sounds a little bit frustrating. And she's like, oh, no, I love it.
Yeah.
She said, I'm an expert at what I do. I'm giving you the best advice, but you guys are making that decision. And so turned my head around on how the county runs, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, when you come into that position, you're looking at it, you don't know what you don't know at this point.
Right.
What is the
Yep.
biggest way that the state impacts the county and what they can't do?
The legislation comes down every 2 years. A
Yeah.
bunch of lawyers are writing that, and then it comes down our way. And and then we see how that gets interpreted.
Right.
And so that's a challenge.
Do you see it as like, one of the things I think that they've tried to limit is any kind of ability to regulate development. Have you seen that, or do you think that's true?
We're in the middle of that right now, and that is not my forte coming into that one.
Right.
We've got some issues everybody knows going
Right.
on that can't really comment on. And then apparently those rules just changed at the end of the year as well.
Right.
So trying to stay on top of that has been fun.
Yeah. This is a difficult race because it's so fast, because the March primary is here. What has been your kind of campaign outreach? What does that look like for you? Or do you even have time to do it because you're actually working?
No, we had an event last week over at the Armory Building, the Veterans Center. Last night there was a pretty well attended. The Republican Party put on a meet and greet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people got up and spoke and had a little afterwards. I've got a neighborhood deal this afternoon, so we're doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
Got some friends. I think it's neighborhood by neighborhood. It's
Right.
precinct by precinct.
Right.
And
Precinct 1, is an interesting one because it's a big chunk of the city of Kerrville.
it's
It kind
this
of
long, narrow swath that
It's
just runs across the
and
county.
kind of divides the county in half, basically.
Yeah.
When Rob Kelly talked to you about taking on this role, how did he pitch it to you? How did he say, by the way, they're going to remove this guy and we're going to put you in, and how's that been?
He contacted me and said, by phone, and he said, if I have an opportunity to appoint somebody, at that time he didn't know if he would.
Yeah.
He said, I would like you to consider it. And I stopped dead pause.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going to give you a while to think about it. But he thought he knew what I had done on a federal level
Right.
in working with constituents in Kerr, Gillespie, Bandera, and Riel County. And I had done that for 15 years. And I've had about 6 or 7 different jobs in Kerrville over the years.
Right.
And he thought that would transfer over to the county level. And I thought about it for a long time. I'm not from here. I didn't grow up here, but I've been here 33 years. Actually, this week
You basically did grow up here.
We moved Super Bowl weekend 33 years ago.
Yeah.
And the deal at the Arcadia is what made me realize I have a passion for this community. I didn't know anything about that theater. It had been closed since before I had moved here. But that nonprofit group took me inside, and the hair on my arm stood up because you're like, this is a super cool place.
Right.
And so I got very passionate about Kerrville in interviewing the people that had grew up in there and trying to get people in there. And I realized when he called me that I'm just as passionate about Kerrville and serving as well.
Right.
I feel very lucky to have found this spot. My husband and I worked here. When we came, we were basically newlyweds, looking for a job, looking for a place to raise family.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to find jobs that let us live here and stay here. We've invested in this community. We're active in our church. We've invested in several businesses in this town. And if we're lucky enough for our kids to want to move back, we want the same county for them that we had.
How many times have you been called a rhino in this campaign? You've been called a rhino a couple times? Yeah.
A
couple of.
I've only worked for 20 years for a Republican congressman.
Right.
Been a Republican my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm married to a CPA
Yeah.
who's very,
You're about as Republican
very
as
conservative.
you're about as Republican as you can get, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But how does it make you feel, though?
It's frustrating. When I worked for Congressman Smith, I had Democrats that protested in my office every Wednesday for 18 months.
Wow.
And I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And now I have Republicans that don't think I'm conservative enough.
Right.
So, I don't know. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I bring to the court, is not any of that.
Right. Do you think that's something that's interesting too, because you have a point here where if they could do it, the Kerr County Republicans Party would endorse one of your opponents over you by saying you're not Republican enough, which they're not supposed to do by doctrine for the party. You're not supposed to endorse other Republicans.
They never have since
Yeah.
I've been here.
But they would be willing. There is a movement in that to do exactly that.
Yes.
Does that frustrate you, or does that?
Sure. I think you should let the candidates fight it out.
Yeah. Right.
That's what run for office means.
Yeah. What do you think sets you apart from the other candidates?
I think my experience with people.
Mm-hmm.
I started off as a sales rep.
Yeah.
I learned really early on that you can't take things personal.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
When people start attacking you, not to respond to that in a negative manner. It's hard to take phone calls from people that are unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
The last place anybody wants to go is a government office to trying to solve their problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so you learn how to help these people. I think the most important thing is to listen to them and respect them and to try to get them an answer.
Right.
You don't always give them the answer they want, but you can look into it and figure out, first of all, I got to figure out where you're supposed to be. Is your problem on the county level?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a state level? Is it a federal level? Figuring all that out. And then what actually you can do for them. And I haven't had a ton of phone calls yet. I've had a few. And so, you start to work. Some of them are about water, which the county doesn't have any authority to regulate water. Some of them are about development. And so we're working on those issues with them. But we're all here to learn.
Right. Do you see to me, the biggest challenge that the county faces again is the ability to one, keep employees.
Yep.
What's your, the biggest department is the sheriff's department. Right. Larry goes through moments where he's brought everybody in and then he goes, then they leave, because they make more money.
Right now he's good.
Right now he's good.
We're better than some of our surrounding counties by far.
Right, and it took him. I mean, that was a huge effort for him to get that done.
Right.
What's your relationship with the sheriff?
I did not know the sheriff previously.
Mm-hmm.
Have not really had any big sit-down conversations with him yet.
Yeah.
But I am impressed with what he's done. He is in the court quite frequently.
Right.
I think his biggest challenge is kind of like these guys. You got to be close.
Mm-hmm.
You got to live close in order to do your job and be able to come in. And that is a challenge for him, for them to find housing, to live in this community and serve this community.
Right. And the county, like I said, doesn't have a say necessarily. I mean, they can control development, but the affordable housing issue is a county problem to a certain degree.
Sure, for our people to live.
Yeah. How does the county, maybe work with the city, or what are the efforts that the county can do to help with this problem we have here?
I think I've heard the judge say, and we had a presentation from the city on Lamnar homes, affordable homes.
Yeah.
And we didn't participate in that. And I think what we would like to do is do more of a participation in low-income housing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get a place for people to start.
Right. Now, I think, that was an interesting moment, too, was that they did not say, the city said, well, we should be involved in the TERS, which I think the county should have joined that because it does impact the county in some ways, in a lot of ways. I think that was a mistake on the county's part. But now you're looking at PIDs, which is interesting because the one that's bringing the PIDs up, the doctrine of that was, we shouldn't do PIDs, from the city side, from one of the members of the city council. But now you're looking at PIDs
County side.
and the county side. Is that, and what was interesting about it to me was that the way it was approached was like, oh, look at this idea. I'm like, well, the city's already doing PIDs, So will that help? Is that a productive conversation for the county?
We're
This is public improvement districts, by the way. So I'm
Right.
getting into the weeds here.
And we are looking into that for the roads, is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know 2 county commissioners have visited with other counties to look into that. That has just been brought up as a way. Here's the deal. We've got 604 roads.
Mm-hmm.
in the county.
Right.
400.
604. One of them. Are you on a county road?
I
am.
think so.
Yeah, I am.
You
Yeah.
don't know. It's 460 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
The
sure it's a county
average
road.
Length of each road is 3/4 of a mile. And it is a huge department.
Mm-hmm.
And if we grow those roads, we're going to need more people.
Yeah.
We're going to need more tools, more gravel and oil and chip seal and all those
Mm-hmm.
things. And that's going to come in as a huge expense.
All right.
So it's going to cost us more.
Well, and one of the things interesting too is like I said, I live out, in the county area, south of the hospital, and I'm always kind of looking at the roads. Like it's a pretty good road bed for the most part, but you can see like there's no drainage, there's no curbing, there's no water management stuff at all, and you can see that the roadways can easily fall victim to neglect in a hurry
Right.
if you're not on top of it.
Right. Some roads are better than others.
Yeah.
Kelly is, if you've ever gone into her shop back there, she's got a chart. It's color coded.
Yeah.
She has now got the county on a schedule of every 9 years, those roads are maintained.
Yeah.
And that's 50 miles, 55 miles, some years.
They'll never be done of it. You never be through of it.
Never, and it's a constant
Yeah, you couldn't
rotation.
be.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
think about it. You don't have that many days out of the year that you
Yeah.
can actually do the
Yeah,
roads. It's
right.
too cold, too hot, too
Yeah.
wet. But she's got the county roads looking good.
And it's incredibly expensive.
It's incredibly expensive. We just opened the bid packages yesterday.
Yeah.
Today's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
We opened the bid packages yesterday, and all those costs are going up.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. I mean, you have to be prepared for $1 million a mile. Is what
Yeah.
to do
We-
to do a new roadway.
we had to do our driveway last summer, so based on what I had to spend on a driveway, I cannot imagine whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Right.
because we had
Right.
the Snowvid ice storm really destroyed our pavement type
Right.
driveway, and then
Destroyed a lot of
two more
things,
two
yeah.
more years down the road, we had potholes our car was going to sink into. But
Right.
anyway, so I can't imagine,
Can't imagine.
an actual road that
Yeah.
has to have regulations
Yeah.
that my
Right.
driveway doesn't have to have.
So pits may be an
Yeah.
option. I don't know. I
Right.
think that's something that we all have to explore.
Yeah.
Give me an idea again. What was you walked into the job? You sit at the desk. What was the 2 weeks into it? What was your biggest aha moment about this job?
Well, first of all, they couldn't hear me
Mm-hmm.
because I have a female voice.
Yes.
And so we've had some issues with the microphone
Yeah.
because it's all these male voices that are resounding up
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah, that's a dumb way they do it. I'm sorry, but it would be. I could fix it in 5 minutes.
please.
Yeah. You want to talk to me? I can do. Myself and Aaron Yates could fix it in 5 minutes.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because it's just putting in the microphones for all the desks, and
Yeah, I think we just have one.
you have one
Oh.
you have one big
Yeah.
USB mic, which is
And it's in the very middle.
it's in the middle. It
You're
actually
on an edge.
it actually
Yeah.
picks up. It actually
Sorry.
picks
You're
up the audience better than it picks up
Oh,
you guys.
interesting.
Yeah, because no one can understand Jonathan Lentz because he kind of mumbles, so that's a problem. So
I was going to say, I have a hard time with man voices. I hear women better. Maybe it's because I'm a woman, but men tend to talk too low and
Right.
mumbly for
I
me.
don't think I'm soft spoken.
No.
Yeah.
Everybody said they've had a hard time.
Well,
hearing me.
and it's because you're on the corner of it, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
picking
it's not
up-
carrying
it's not-
correctly to
yeah.
the mic.
Yeah.
There needs to be a mic in front of your face.
Yeah.
So,
I moved it over.
did you? Good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
She just switched his
Yeah.
chairs
Yeah.
one day.
Right. Just switch chairs.
The key to the courthouse is Jody.
Yeah. Yeah. Jody Vincent. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So figure that out. She
Yeah.
runs the show.
She's the diamond.
She's very
Yeah.
pleasant too.
Very.
She
very-
is.
Yeah.
She's
She
been
is.
very helpful.
Yeah.
She's been very, very helpful.
How about that Bob Reeves guy?
Bob Reeves is the best.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Did I tell you my Bob Reeves story the other day?
No.
He was working the front desk,
Nice.
and he was taking property taxes.
Hey,
He was in there.
Helping out.
look,
Helping out,
I
yeah.
So
think
his employees could go have a break.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was filling in.
Yeah.
I think everyone should do
He's a
that.
good guy.
I'm in the visitor center.
Yeah,
I
you-
answer
you
phones.
know
like,
how to-
I mean, how else do you know what's happening unless you are part of your team?
Exactly.
But I think that
So
says
good.
a lot.
I'm glad he was there doing that.
Says a lot about.
It does say a lot.
Yeah.
This walking quorum rule.
Yeah. The walking.
Walking quorum.
Yeah. The
Where
three.
you, where you can't talk to other county commissioners and learn about things, which,
Yeah.
that's interesting. You're like, okay, I'm brand new.
Yeah.
Well, who can I talk to?
Yeah.
Bob Reeves is a great guy.
He's a great
All the
guy.
department heads are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where you go.
You
And
go.
That was my eye opening. It's like, oh, can talk to you about that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Hasn't stopped them before, by the way. I have the paper trail on that one. So,
Well, luckily, we've got some great people in the county that have been super helpful for me to understand.
is there ever a moment in the meetings where you just think to yourself, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Because when I watch those meetings, I think to myself, what are you doing there?
Yeah. It's interesting, like I say, of how it's set up. You've got public comment in the beginning, which you can't comment on.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. You can't give any.
I think I know I can't,
You can't do
and I know
feedback
they
and
do
you
that.
want to.
That happens at the city too, and I'm like, what a waste of everyone's time. Like I can go vent to you, but you can't respond.
It's interesting
And then I'm disappointed because I vented, but no one responded to me. I just think it heightens.
Yeah.
I get why. I
Yeah.
do get why, because you don't want to be there 6 hours and you can't solve it there. But it does make it interesting to me as just a
I'm
person.
getting into a flow of it.
Yeah.
Of what,
Yeah.
how it rolls, and then you.
So that being said,
Yeah.
go talk to your precinct person
Right.
directly versus
Yes.
if you really want to have a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Public comment is not where you
Yes.
get to have a conversation.
Yes.
But
we've got
anyway,
emails, we've got phone.
yeah.
There's been a lot of one of the most, I think, insulting things that I ever saw was when you were appointed. One member of the court said, well, we've had women try to get on this court before, and they don't win the elections. It's like, well, I think there's been 2 in the last few years. Mindy
Sonia
Wenderly,
Hooten was
Sonia
the
Hooten,
last one,
right?
and before her was Mindy.
Yeah,
Correct.
and
And now you've got 2 running.
you got
hey.
right.
Yeah.
There is some discussion that the 2 of you, Tammy Proud being the other one, will somehow split the vote. I think this race is a runoff, no matter what.
You've got to win 51% of the vote. When
Yeah.
you've got 3, that's going to be hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I know all 3 candidates, and I'm like, oh boy, wow, what a difficult choice. But again, your experience, you feel like your experience sets you back, and then just being in this role right now. So and serving this precinct already. What has been the feedback from people in the precinct to you?
Everybody's been super positive.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons I did it is I've had friends that have run for city council and for school board, and you see yourself going, thank you for running. I know that is hard. I appreciate you. And you're thinking, what? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But then,
My standard response to those people is always, are you nuts?
well, I've
What's
done a
wrong
lot
with
of
you?
that too.
Yeah. Are you crazy?
Then all of a sudden it comes in, and somebody asks you to do it, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm next man up. You know? And it's enjoyable. It's a good thing to help people and serve people. I don't want to do it forever. I'm going to run for a term. I'm not going to be a career politician. Most everybody's been super positive.
Yeah.
They're like, we're glad you're there. Thank you for doing it. They're giving me that same speech I used to give them. Thank you, you're doing it. I'm glad I'm not doing it because you must be half crazy. But
Right.
Anyway, I think it does take a little bit of half crazy.
The whole county structure thing in Texas is fascinating to me. And
Did you know that every county in Texas only has 4 county commissioners?
really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
matter what the size.
4.
4.
Yeah.
So next week I'm headed to Bryan College Station. You have to get 16 hours of CE sort of
You have to have continuing education, right?
continuing education hours. So as soon as I was appointed, I signed up for the first one I could get. It's a huge one. There's like 400 people that go to this. Little did I know it's the first day of early voting, so probably not the best
Best day to go.
2 days to
But
be
you've got
out
to
of
get your
county,
hours
but
in.
I wasn't thinking about that back then. But I am super excited about going because I'm going to go to class all day and get my hours. But with 400 people there, you get to meet people at breakfast and at lunch and at dinner.
Yeah.
And you get to see what other counties are doing and learn some best practices from across the state. So I'm actually pretty excited. about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting that we hear all the time from those in the far right, get government out of my face, and it's like, well, you got 254 counties that all have elected officials. I mean, we're the county is basically this population size of a nice sized city, 50,000 people, right? But we have on top of that we have elected sheriff, elected commissioners, all those positions are elected, and they get salaries too. So if you actually multiply that by the level of It's a lot, and
It's a lot.
it's essentially a
I had no idea what salary was
yeah.
until
No.
I was there. Yeah.
I mean, it starts like $60,000 a year,
65.
$65,000 a year,
$65,000
plus benefits.
Plus benefits.
Right.
Right.
Cynically, I've said this before that some of these guys folks run just for the benefits. You know, it's a little added bonus to it. And if you serve 2 terms, you get a renewity from the state from that. So yeah, you get a little pension action from that. It's like 20% of your whatever your salary is.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know that number.
You don't know that number. I looked it up because I had to do some research on this previously. Well, good stuff. I appreciate you being here and putting up with our shenanigans today. It's always good to have Anne to talk to.
Yeah.
Arcadia has turned out to be a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal. I've got, we were laughing earlier about not the right age. My granddaughter's going to be here this weekend. She's 27 months, and I think I'm going to take her to Frozen. And
Yeah.
if she lasts the
Nice.
first hour, I'm going to consider it a win.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
2 years and 3 months. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good time
Yeah.
to take that
I
to.
think she'll listen to at least part of it.
It's a giant TV.
Yeah.
And
And like you said, you stay as long as they're happy, and then you're like, move on.
and it's designed, I think, for that
Well, and
event.
it's a kid's place. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
kid activity.
Yeah, that event is designed for kids. You know, to be rambunctious.
Right.
it's okay if they're
Yeah.
running around.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you like being the grandma now?
It's pretty cool.
Isn't it?
I have the 27-month-old just had a baby sister.
Oh,
Oh.
So we got
wow.
a 2-week-old and a 27-month-old.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're trying to
Wow.
take a little off their hands
Yeah.
and occupy the oldest one.
Do you-
She's adorable. She doesn't want to be called big.
No.
She's still the baby.
She's still the
Oh,
baby.
We
cute.
raised baby number 1,
Yeah.
and now we have baby
Cute.
Two.
She doesn't
Right.
want to be big. I
Yeah.
love
like that.
it.
be big.
What does she call you?
She calls me Gigi.
Gigi? Well, over here's Lolly.
I'm Lolly.
Lolly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Supreme Lord Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
The boys now are old enough they can actually spit that out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Julie the other day. She was getting lunch
We went
over
to
at
Freddy's. Yeah. Emerson loves Freddy's.
and I yelled at your, "Hey, Lolly!" And Emerson whipped around like, who's calling?
Who's calling her
Yeah.
Lolly?
Who's
Yeah.
calling Lolly?
And then he's like, "Who is that? Why does he know you?"
Why-
And the funny thing is, we had been at the museum earlier in the day, and they kept calling me Mom. They were like, "Okay, Mom," da da da. And you could see him looking at me. When he was younger, he would correct them.
Yes.
But now he's like old enough to be like, "Oh, I guess I don't, And I'm like, just roll with it.
Just roll with it.
Let me be young today.
Yes. Yes. It's all
That's right. I'm a mom.
I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I think grandkids are about
Yeah.
the best thing ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, the best part of my vacation that I took was my last 3 days with my grandsons, where I could just kind of, it was me, my daughter, and my son, daughter-in-law, and then the 2 boys. And, man, it was bliss. It was peaceful,
Yeah.
even though they're crazy. You know.
Yeah.
Give them back.
That's
What-
right.
Yeah, I know.
They're fun.
I
They're
know.
fun.
I need to bring them back out here. Yeah. So nothing better than being a Gigi
That's right.
or a Lolly.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
And appreciate all your help with the Arcadia.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. We have, by the way, we have new art coming in
Okay.
from a lot of
Oh,
Arcadia
right.
stuff. We have, I think I have 8 new portraits coming out or photos of different acts that have played there, including Flaco Jimenez, Flatland Cavalry, which
Oh, those are July 4th.
July 4th, Fourth on the River events. I'm trying to remember my others. Oh, we have Sleep at the Wheel.
Yep.
Ray Benson played at Arcadia. Rodney Crowell played at Arcadia.
I was out of town. I missed that
You
one.
missed that one.
Yeah.
There's Travis Pierce playing at Arcadia. And there's a few others in there too. Some of them for the Folk Fest as well, but those will be here maybe today,
Yeah.
maybe later today. So
It'll be like Christmas for you.
yes, it will be. I don't know where to put them all.
Yeah, I love they've added the kids things. Emerson loves going there too now.
Yeah.
He knows that, like, for him, instead of it being an off limits place, it's only for grown-ups.
Yeah.
He sees it as a place kids can go have fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because
And
we've
he
done,
doesn't want to play on the deck.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we they did that thing. I helped him. I was like, how we do like an indoor like jump house thing.
Yeah, we did that one,
That
and
was
he's
fun.
gone to some of the movies.
Christmas?
Last summer,
What was it?
was it last summer?
What
The
was that?
kids zone thing with the jump houses and
Oh
all
yeah,
of
it was
that.
last summer. Yeah, yeah,
On the floor,
yeah,
inside?
yeah,
Super
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
they
And they
had all
had
these little-
popsicles and
yeah.
popcorn and whatever.
Well,
yeah.
I was telling him. I said, because they're always open to my crazy. Well, most open to my crazy ideas. They don't like Man Fest and the other stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I said, what if it would have a place? Because your air conditioner is awesome.
Yeah.
It's hotter than hell outside.
Yeah, it was great. It was in the summer because we went out on the
Yeah.
deck and watched his mom and aunt. They were paddleboarding, kayaking in the park,
Yeah.
so that was fun. Like we took him to do
Yeah.
that. I was like, we got the inside gig.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
the advertisements from when it first opened almost 100 years ago, it's cool as a cave.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's-
There you
yeah.
In
go.
the newspaper, we
Yeah.
found those.
That's
that
cool.
was
Cool
the
as a
number one,
cave.
that was the number one thing that most movie theaters in the West
Right.
said. Oh, we have AC,
We have cooled air conditioned air.
and people
but-
will sit in there and just be happy as can be.
And I think one of the best things that team made was to not do fixed seating,
Yeah,
so
Right.
that you can use those floors and get out.
That's
there.
why we can have a jump house in there.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was telling Amy Goodyear that I saw a theater renovation, kind of like what the Callow,
Mm-hmm.
the Callow looks like, that kind of classic style. But they had the ability to remove all of the seats, and they folded down into
Into the ground.
the ground, and they went down in, and then then there was a basically an open space.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
I
well,
can't imagine how much that cost, though.
Yeah.
Dang. I know how much.
So
we
you
would
could
pay
still
for
have a
those
traditional
chairs.
looking theater when you wanted to, and then boop.
right,
Oh
Yeah.
man,
right.
that's pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, and so it made it actually like flat, like it evened out the
Yeah.
floor as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would add like, you could have a dance hall or dance floor, or you could have table seating or whatever it
Yeah.
may be. So that's
I know
the
that-
brilliance of Arcadia's design to me, is that it was so smartly done.
It was agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that, by the way? Who cooked that
We
idea?
took a trip up to Austin,
Yeah.
to the Paramount,
Okay.
and nonprofit runs that group as well, and that was one of their big points. Was like, if we could do it over,
Right.
you could use this. You could repurpose the place.
Yeah.
And you're not just a
Right.
one shop pony.
Nope. Not at all. Not at
Nice.
all. Yeah. And that's the beauty of Arcadia, and that's why we have such a great. I don't know if you followed me on the other day, but I went to 7 events on Friday. 7. I started out at 2:00 at baseball.
Okay.
I ran over
You
to.
started late and you still made 7?
I made 7, from 2 to from 2 to 10.
2 to 10. That's
Yeah.
1 an hour.
I did, and then I went over to Bella Lou's, which is having a grand
Right.
opening.
Yep.
Then I went back to then I went to Camerata San Antonio,
Okay.
which was
At 4 o'clock.
fantastic, by the way. I was trying to figure out if they could wedge the symphony into that space, and I don't think they
Be
can.
pretty tight,
But
yeah.
man, it sounds
It's a it sounds
so
beautiful
pretty,
in there.
And then Sarah Davis, soprano Sarah Davis, was singing from Comfort, and oh my God, she was fantastic. Then I went to tennis at Shriner,
Okay.
basketball at Shriner, went back to the Callow for the zombie prom,
night prom.
and then went to the VK for that event,
The play.
the curious
Yes.
incident of the dog
in the nighttime.
Yeah, 7 events.
Nice.
Impressive.
And then the next morning I went
Did you
to
have dinner in there anywhere? Did you get to eat?
That's pretty
Oh,
on the
I
go.
did actually. I did have dinner in there. I went to Trailhead and I had Vicino's.
Oh, see, and that's going to an event because
Yeah,
it was at
That's 8
Trailhead.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did 8 things.
yeah.
You just got to
So
eat while
I
you were
got
at
to eat.
Trailhead.
Yeah, it was.
I'm all about food.
It was quite delightful actually.
Oh, I
But see,
feel
the-
really lazy with my Friday now, but I enjoyed
I'm trying to think
it,
now.
so.
How did I fit that into my schedule? How did that?
Well, I mean,
how
I
did
had
how
to
did
work. I had to be at my office till 5,
Yeah.
so I had a late start for you. But
I'm like,
yeah.
did I? How did I make that work? I don't know.
just
if I-
did it.
I don't know how I made that work exactly. Maybe I didn't do that. I don't know. That sounds
right.
I don't know. You got superpowers.
I don't
Sounds like
know.
you did it if you remember it. But
I went to robotics on Saturday.
I saw that. That's fun.
Yeah.
So that involved a whole drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. But it was cool to see all of the kids that are out there. Mm-hmm. I also made.
Did you ever make it over to the circus?
I never did make it over to the circus.
I didn't either. Emerson went with his mom on Friday.
Did he
He
like
said it
it?
was fun. He did. He didn't tell me a lot. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, there was a guy with a bike and
They drove
they
around.
did flips. Yeah, but that's all I got.
It's a cool looking tent.
It was a cool looking tent,
Yeah.
or is
So,
if
yeah.
it's still there.
I don't think I'm going to make it to the. This week is pretty busy too.
Yeah.
I think it's the daddy-daughter dance and
Is that this weekend?
It's this weekend. Mom-son dance is Friday.
Friday.
Daddy-daughter dance is on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's back-to-back dances.
So the mom started demanding equal time.
Yes.
Popularity.
Right. I think it should just be combined. Just make it into one big event. I get you. Because man, but I like to go to those things because they're cynically like they're page view monsters for me because those photos always are delightful, and it's fun. And it's funny
And
because
you can't help but share a photo of you and your child or your child. Or,
Mostly,
right? Like you're going to share and comment on that. And so is grandma and auntie and everybody else.
The best part of the mother-son dance is that usually the boys, like they throw all these balloons for all these kids. And it's just like football.
Yeah.
It's just kids
Boys
knocking
are
each
different,
over.
man.
Yeah. It's just awesome.
Boys are different.
Yeah. I went to one of those things one time with my grandsons when they were little and they were on the base and back in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a clown there, he was making like, balloon art, balloon toys. Every boy wanted a sword.
Yep.
And my youngest, who was like 3 or 4 at the time, basically like he was on a prison yard with a shiv, just beating the hell out of other kids. It's like, Lincoln, come on, get out of there.
Come on, boys.
Come on, boys.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's hard.
All right. Good job, everybody. Did you learn anything today?
I did. And you're going to ask me what, but I learned a lot of stuff. Okay. I learned CPR changes.
Yeah.
The CPR rules are different. That's the first thing. I learned more than that, but that's the first thing that popped in my head. Yeah.
How about that? How about Janelle's $1.9 million property she has in
I want it for just that oak
Harper.
tree. It was Harper.
Harper,
I
yeah.
love a good classic oak tree just sitting in a pasture. That's like, for some reason, my little zen thing. It's Texas. It's
Yeah.
classic. And
Beauty of living in
yeah,
Kerr County.
I would love that. I would buy that property just for that tree if I had the money.
Did you learn anything today, Anne?
Did I learn anything today? Yeah, I need to get my CPR.
Right.
After listening to these two.
Yeah. What about pickleball? Did you get a pickleball?
I was a tennis player, high school, played
Yeah.
on the high school team.
Wow.
Played doubles. But I have a bad right knee, and my husband has forbid me from playing pickleball
Really?
because I'm going to get hurt.
Well, it's reasonably low impact, but
Yeah, I
still,
thought it was supposed to be better than
but still,
playing tennis,
it
but I
has
don't know.
injuries.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
And you're probably competitive.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Tiny bit, yeah.
the interesting thing about pickleball is that it's the tennis players, the retired tennis players who are the ones that are championing it. Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf are playing it now. So
very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And they're
What'd
not.
you
What?
learn? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh God!
I interrupted
learned.
your pickleball story. I thought there was a pause. My
I learned
cue.
that there's only 4 county commissioners in it.
That's
I
true.
did. That's a pretty good.
It's true.
That's a pretty good thing. That's
Yeah.
kind of amazing. Really.
It is kind of amazing.
Yeah. They're all paid too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Probably.
What, this is like a,
Does the county decide that, like per county, or is it like a state thing?
No, that is per county.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random things that popped into my head.
yes.
Yeah. Every county has a
I
different.
mean, I
sort of,
would think so. 'Cause
Every county has a different sort of pay
Yeah, yeah,
scale.
yeah.
Like the bigger counties pay
Right.
more, right?
because they're
Right.
bigger,
Yeah,
right?
they're
Well,
big.
and everybody has different
They have more tax.
budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I learned to remember to check my emails about booking people on the show.
You did not.
I did not do that today.
I don't. He might have remembered it, but I don't think he learned it.
I've not learned that yet in 3 years of doing this thing.
Yeah.
How many email addresses do you have?
Too many.
That's
Too-
the problem.
Yeah. Too
Yeah.
many.
See, and I never know which one he's going to be good about checking, so I send it to all of them.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
I only have 2. but-
Right. I have some people who just email me my private email, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. There's like, I have 35,000 unread messages.
So
in
which
that.
email do you want us all to email to?
Kerr County Lead.
Okay, Kerr County
Yes.
Lead. Now we know.
Or can you lead?
Get it done. All right, everybody. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Thank
Tomorrow,
you.
Thank you.
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Supposedly.
It's Wednesday.
Well, Wonderful Wednesday is not going to happen tomorrow because Rachel's got grandma duties.
Okay.
Her name is Moxie. So
Fits.
yeah, Moxie is there's some kind of event over at St. Peter's,
Okay, cool.
like I don't know, Grandma Day or something like that.
Nice.
So she's not going to be here tomorrow. We invited Jeff Holt to be here tomorrow, but I haven't heard from him. He's in for Precinct 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if he shows up or not. Thursday we have Mr. Lance, Chase
Okay.
Lance from Precinct 3. And then on Friday we have Tammy Prout. Next week, though, we have some interesting shows. We have Micah Ford will be here on Tuesday of next week. Talk about his new project that he's got. You may, if you've seen it over across the street on the VK Garage.
Facebook post
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. So
Fascinating.
they're moving a historic house, and they're going to turn it into some kind of really cool working office space, I think.
What it's gonna be.
Well, we're going to get more details from
Okay.
Micah. Micah's never been on the show before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we've drug Laura on a few times, but this will be Micah's first time going on.
Nice.
So
No, there's no coffee.
I know.
Yeah, Tuesday.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, I know. So I'll have to make
See?
extra doubles. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll see you
Thanks.
guys again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.
No holding back, no stepping stones, no broken promises, no busy tones. Just what it takes, just make believe.